Hello again, everyone. Let's do some toy reviews. I thought, why not look at two figures at once rather than just doing a review of a single figure at a time. So let's look at both the Spider-Man and the Beetle from the new Spider-Man Homecoming series. The Spider-Man we're going to be looking at is the one with the armpit webs, as I call them. Here's a look at the back. The Beetle is actually Abner Jenkins, the one we're going to be looking at today. There's been a few different Beetles, but this one, he originally appeared in Strange Tales number 123, and that came out all the way back in August 1964, believe it or not. Here's the Spider-Man figure, and we all know who Spider-Man is, of course, Peter Parker. As I mentioned, this is the armpit web one, and if you grew up watching Spider-Man and his amazing friends like I did, this is a Spider-Man you were really looking forward to getting. Comes with a few different things, interchangeable head, etc. There's our Beetle figure. He has a nice metallic kind of look, very simplified form. A couple extra things to kind of give us the feeling that he's wearing a bodysuit, and of course his Beetle wings. Here's our Spider-Man out of packaging, and there are the armpit webs I was talking about. Unfortunately, this is another example of Hasbro trying to do armpit web wings and just massively failing. They don't work very well. You can see they kind of stick out when you move the arm up. They fit into these tiny slots, and frankly, they don't actually fit in very well. Quick history here, though. The first armpit wings we saw were on the Banshee figure. I actually think it worked pretty well on that one. Then we have a whole history of bad armpit wings from two different Black Bolts to two different Spider-Women, and I actually think they did it the best with the modern version of the Spider-Woman, giving us two different versions of the armpit wings. These are the smaller ones that you can see there on the very, very far right. The Spider-Man figure comes with two heads and two sets of hands. The first set of hands we're looking at are the closed fists, and this is just a regular Spider-Man head. We also have what I call the thinking face, or the Spidey sense face, and the I love you hands, which are him shooting out a web. We really should have some type of web shooting hands like we got with Bullseye. That would be really cool. Here he is in comparison to the Beetle figure, and you can kind of see this is the shorter of the Spider-Man molds, which is kind of good and kind of bad. Again, he is a teenager, but we're getting a lot of the tiny Spider-Man rather than a full-size Marvel figure. Here's a quick look at the back of the Beetle figure. Those are the same wings that we have from the Lady Beetle figure, but we do have these two little shell components that go on the top as well, and you can kind of mix and match what you want. There's 4 different holes altogether. There's a pretty rich history of the Beetle fighting Spider-Man, but he was actually a Fantastic Four bad guy to begin with. He actually, in the first comic, fought the Human Torch and the Thing. He was famously pantsed once by the Invisible Woman. The really crazy thing is this is the first time we have a classic Beetle figure. We've had several other Beetles. We've had the Lila Davis version of the Beetle. We've had the Power Rangers version of the Beetle. We've even had the Lady Beetle come out. But again, as I mentioned, this is the first time we just have the classic Beetle that we know so well come out. Overall, the two figures are actually pretty good if you get rid of the little wings that Spider-Man had. He is a great kind of classic Spider-Man, and if you grew up watching Spider-Man and his amazing friends, this is probably the Spider-Man you're going to be picking up. And as I mentioned, the Beetle is one of just a classic Spider-Man bad guy, going all the way back to the almost very beginning. The two pieces of the Build-A-Wing, I finally have my Vulture Build-A-Wing finished, and it's okay. It's rather large and beautiful, but it absolutely doesn't take the place of a good Build-A-Figure.